Welcome to another episode of Chat Sports Talk. As y'all know, my name's Chat. Take a dive on sports. And welcome to Week 8 preview and pick video of the NFL. That's right, we're up to Week 8 now. We're about halfway there. Oh, halfway there. All right, I'll stop singing. I'm sorry. And there's no one that there's like a handful of teams really that are the focal point of the NFL. I mean, you look at the Bills and the Chiefs, and then you've got the NFC side. You look at the Eagles, the Giants, the Cowboys, and the Vikings. Those are basically your teams. After that, it's a wide open race. One division, a team with a losing record right now is the division lead. Does this mean it's parity across the league? There's only a handful of teams that seem to got things gelling the right way, or there's something else nefarious behind the scenes. But I'm not going to get involved in like a mid-season reaction. Maybe after this Week 8 games, I might do that. Or I might wait till after Week 9, since it's a 17-game season. But before I dive into all the nonsense that's coming up on Week 8, if you could, go ahead and smash that thumbs up for me, especially like content provider, really places you two guys really help this channel out. You can also subscribe. I mean, you guys review my work. Not many of you subscribe. I love that you review my work, and I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe because it helps me provide more entertainment value for you. Now, for the past 2 weeks, I've gone 9-5, which is pretty respectable. Most of these weeks I've been keeping with my preseason picks and making a few changes here and there. And it seems to be working well for me because I actually did that for a while because I got my paper here and I've been averaging, about 5 losses a week with that for the past 4 weeks. As I got all my picks on a piece of paper here. So let's see if I can continue that trend. But for this upcoming week, I made quite a lot of changes to my preseason pick to this one. So we'll kind of see how that one really pans out and see if someone else will bite me. Maybe I should have left them where they were. But who knows? Just dive right into tonight's action in Tampa Bay, which will feature the Baltimore Ravens coming to town taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Buccaneers are struggling. It's the struggle bus. There's no doubt about it. They hit a low in Charlotte when Mike Evans dropped a wide open, and he dropped the ball. He said after that catch, it looked like the lights went out in the Tampa Bay. That was in the first quarter of that game. Tom Brady doesn't look the same anymore. His offensive line is in shambles. Anytime you get, pressure up the middle, that's it. He's done. Injuries are just decimating this team. Is Todd Bowles the answer? I mean, maybe the reason why he wasn't the Jet head coach anymore. He might be a great defensive mind, but he might not be a great head coach. They are people that are like that. They have these great minds and they're good in a certain role, but you give them the leadership role or a step above, they don't function. No, there's just so many things wrong with the Tampa Bay team right now. It's hard to really pinpoint exactly where the issue is. Same thing with Baltimore. In the fourth quarter, that team just disappears. It's like, they got someone else taking over the bodies, and they're like, rookie players in the Madden game and just doing silly things and just not hitting the wrong buttons, and defense blows the game. The offensive line forgets how to block. Lamar Jackson making silly mistakes. I mean, these are two teams that are having issues. Baltimore performs well in three quarters. Is the last one that seemed to just forget how to play, and one that's just trying to find their identity. Who will come out on top? Right now, Tampa Bay is favored by 2. My preseason pick is Tampa Bay. I'm going Baltimore. I think Baltimore right now is a little bit more cohesive as a unit compared to Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's got too many injuries you got to worry about, especially in that line. I think Baltimore's defensive line is talented enough to exploit those holes, frustrate Brady, maybe throw off his timing, which could be leading to a lot of these miscues with his receivers. He's got another receiver out again. I mean, it's going to be a long season for Tampa Bay, but I'm going with Baltimore. Then we're back out to London. That's where we're at a third and final game. This one's in Wembley Stadium. That's the stadium I went to watch a game in London. And that's when, the Chicago Bears were taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, back when the Bears had, Urlacher and Briggs, showcasing how old I am. The Jaguars come to town playing host to the Broncos, and Russell Wilson recently had some unique aspects of his training, especially when he's flying, doing high knees in the aisle. I was on that plane. I would look at him. I was like, "Would you knock it off? No, stop. It's not your personal gym." Russ is in a different plane of existence, literally. The Denver's defense is actually good. They try to keep them in games. The offense is not gelling just yet. They're not performing the way they should. Now, on the flip side, the Jaguars is a team that's actually showing promise here and there. They just can't seem to complete the equation. I mean, they got all the ingredients in place. They just can't figure out how to create the team aspect. They were close against the Giants. I don't know if the receiver was a little bit further in. Maybe it would have been a different story because it would have been a touchdown. He was like 2 yards out when he caught the ball. And then 3 defenders right there kept him out. Or if you found a different guy on the other opposite, away from the middle of the field on the edges, maybe. But, Jacksonville is really, really, really good right now. They're probably missing a piece or two to be really consistent. Doug Peterson's got these guys performing well. Trevor Lawrence is actually doing a decent job. He's not throwing a lot of touchdowns. But he does have, 1,700 yards passing, so he is doing something good. I mean, they do have a decent running back as well. The defense is looking all right. And I have a feeling that I am going to go against the grain on this one. What I originally put in there, because right now the line is the Jacksonville by 2.5. My preseason was Denver. I'm going Jacksonville. I know, just something about Denver right now is just not gelling. Maybe this is the game to get it to turn around. But 2-5 squads. Someone's going to come out and get with a third win. I'm going Jacksonville. I don't think Denver's going to find their mark sooner or later, but not this upcoming Sunday. Then we had down the Big D, where the Cowboys playing host to the Bears, and the Bears offense showed up last week in Foxborough and just surprised me in their performance. Dallas looked sketchy against Detroit, but of course that's the first game Dak Prescott came back after 5 weeks, so that's bound to happen. And the Bears did something I didn't think they were going to do. They got rid of Robert Quinn, their defensive end. Traded him off to Philadelphia for a draft pick and, kept most of his salary under their salary cap. Now, I think this was more of a business aspect because they know the prices for defensive ends are going to go up and they don't have the room as of yet. They do have more room next season, so maybe that's what they need to keep Roquan Smith. We'll see if that happens because I think he's really upset right now where Bears defense is going. So I think he's going to be leaving after the end of the season, which is really a shame. And I think he could really step up to that role of, great Bears linebackers. That's neither here nor there. With this team, this is another offense that the Cowboys defense could have trouble with if they use Justin Fields correctly like they did against New England. If they can repeat the performance they did against New England in Dallas, this should be an interesting game. Right now, Dallas is favored by 9.5. I am hoping they'll be a lot closer than that. Preseason-wise, I picked Chicago. That'll be one of these weird games where they go down there and just shock Dallas. Because they weren't expecting it. They never saw them coming. But I will go with Dallas as well. There's just something. I'm hoping Chicago can build off that New England win and make this game competitive. And I think if Dallas can maintain what they're doing, I know Ezekiel Elliott may or may not be playing this Sunday because he did suffer a little bit of injury, but they do have David Pollard, who's a good running back himself. Missing Quinn on the line could hamper them a bit. He hasn't really been that effective this season thus far. He only had one sack, but I don't know. It's just I think the defense losing at that veteran presence in Quinn will hamper them a bit. So I have a feeling Chicago's going to find themselves behind a hole early, but make it competitive late. But I think Dallas is going to hold on, but will be less than 9. Out to Atlanta, where the Falcons will play host to the surprising Panthers. The Panthers dominated the Buccaneers. No, they didn't have the scoreboard, but they definitely dominated them defensively. Atlanta's just one of these teams that's just very unique, that show up to play, and they win some games where you're not expecting them to win. And right now, they're figured about 4.5. And I'm going with Atlanta as well. I believe more Mariota than do P.J. Walker. But P.J. Walker has taken his opportunity that he has right now in the NFL and is making it work. So more power to him. But I think missing the key pieces they're missing now is going to come into play against Atlanta. Then we head up to Detroit, where the Lions will play host to the Dolphins. And the Lions last week probably could have won in Dallas if they had held on to the damn ball. 5 turnovers that second half decimated them. It took them out. They look like scared little cats. And it's just one of these games that it's just their defense is starting to step up. And that could be trouble for Tua, because if Hutchinson can get in there and wreak havoc like he did in Dallas, Tua's in for a long day. But Tua's one of these quarterbacks that he's a little bit more mobile, so it may lessen the effect of that line rush. But maybe the Miami defense is what Detroit offense needs to kind of reassert themselves. And right now, Miami's favored by 3.5. I'm going to go on the edge. Because I'm living on the edge. No, I'm sorry. I wouldn't sing anymore. My bad. I'm taking the Lions. I'm gonna say they're gonna probably make this one interesting. And probably sneak it out. Just something. Jared Goff is there so often. Has to have a game where he plays out of his mind, and I think this is gonna be it. I think this is the game where Detroit actually wins. This is not gonna save their season, but it's just one of these weird wins. And NFL has these weeks every so often where teams go in and play teams that should be beaten, and they don't. And I think it's going to be one of them. I think Miami's going to fall short, and the Lions will escape with a win. Coming up to Minnesota, where the 5-1 Vikings will play host to the 3-4 Arizona Cardinals. And we'll see if the Kyler Murray, Lane Kingsbury relationship continues to disintegrate in front of our eyes. Having DeAndre Hopkins back for the Arizona offense is a big boost for them. However, they got to take on that offensive juggernaut that is known as the Minnesota Vikings right now, with Justin Jefferson, Delvin Cook, and Kirk Cousins. Now, Kirk Cousins and Kyler Murray, I think Kyler Murray right now has a little bit better stats, but I think Kirk Cousins has a little bit more tenure and the veteran presence, and it's really hard to determine which version of Kirk Cousins he's going to get from week in and week out. But with this being said, Minnesota being favored by 3.5. I'm still going to go with the 3-headed monster of the Vikings offense. I think Minnesota's defense is definitely going to be better. It's going to be more of a challenge for Arizona, especially for Kyler Murray, and then trying to see if they can try to develop any type of running game. But I'm going to take Minnesota, and yeah, I think it's going to be about 3 points. I think Arizona will make it interesting because the Murray-Hopkins connection will light up the Minnesota defense and probably get them for at least 2 scores. But I think that's going to be it. And Minnesota should hang on and beat Arizona. We head down to New Orleans, going from the headwaters of the Mississippi down to the exit of the Mississippi into the Gulf of Mexico. And the Raiders will come into the Big Easy, take on the Saints, and the Saints will probably more likely have Andy Dalton starting again. So a very competent quarterback. Last week against Arizona, 3 interceptions, which included 2 that went back for pick sixes. The Derek Carr, Devontae Adams connection hasn't really developed as they really thought they would. And then you got the 2 running backs from either side. You got Jacobs for the Raiders and Kamara for the Saints. I mean, these guys can step up. Saints defense, I think, is a little bit better than Raiders defense. I mean, it's a back and forth game. Going back and forth. Originally preseason, I had the Saints winning. Right now the line is 1.5 for the Raiders. I'm going to go more of the Raiders direction, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Saints end up winning. But I'm picking Las Vegas in a very, very close matchup. Up to New York, where the Patriots will now take on the Jets. And this Jets team is just phenomenal right now. I don't know if they can. It's the running attack now is going to be in question. Because losing Breece Hall is going to really hamper the running ability of the Jets. And Stevenson for the Patriots is going to be the big running factor. But the way they played against Chicago, they were just destroyed. And I think the Jets can do that. The Jets right now are not the same Jets last year or a couple years prior to that, where they got back-to-back top picks. So I'm it's just one of these things that I think right now New England's favored by 2.5. It's because it's the history of the Patriots and the Jets. The Patriots always seem to find ways to beat the Jets. I don't think this is the week the Patriots do that. I'm going with the Jets. I'm going to go with the mean green on this one. It's just I think they're going to find ways to shake off that losing all these games in a row to the Patriots and finally get one. So Jets in a close one. Then the Battle of Pennsylvania. The Steelers will go into Philadelphia to take on the undefeated Eagles. That's right, undefeated. Now, Pittsburgh is showing some signs here and there that they can turn a corner with Kenny Pickett with what they have there in the receiving core. Najee Harris has shown some glimpses of what he could do his sophomore year, but he's definitely having a sophomore slump. Offensive line's not really helping him out as much either. But that Philadelphia defense, which got better because they added Quinn from Chicago, is going to play havoc on this Steelers offense. Right now, Philly's favored by 11. I doubt it'll be that much, but I am saying Philly is going to win, and the score's going to look close, but they're going to win easily. They'll probably let Pittsburgh score a couple late scores towards the end of the game, but it's going to be too little too late. But yeah, Philadelphia to remain undefeated. Head down to H-Town, where the Texans play host to the Titans in a clash in the AFC South. And I think it's going to be one of these weird games, too. Houston has shown glimpses that they could be really good, and Mills have then blew the game in the fourth quarter because he's shown that he can't complete in the fourth quarter, much like the Ravens' defense. But it's just something about this team. Tennessee doesn't really scare me as much as they used to. It's still a well-coached team with Vrabel at the helm. Derrick Henry starting to reinsert himself once again as a dominant running back this year. But I like Houston in this one. I don't know. It's just something about this game that I want to go that way. The line right now is 2.5 for Tennessee, but I'm staying with the hometown team. I'm going to pick the Texans to edge out Tennessee in this one and get their second one in the season. Kind of make things a little interesting in the AFC South. We head to Indianapolis, where Taylor Heineke is now the starting quarterback for the Commanders, taking on the The Indianapolis Colts, who have benched Matt Ryan. Now, I don't think benching Matt Ryan is going to change anything in Indianapolis. I think that's going to actually hurt them. For Indianapolis, they need to get more from their running attack. Taylor only has 1 touchdown, and he doesn't even have 400 yards yet. Unfortunately, injuries have played a huge factor in Indianapolis offense not performing very well. Their defense can't seem to do much. And there's just so many things you could pick out in this Indianapolis team that's just not gelling, which they should be. Say the same thing about Denver and Pittsburgh and Tampa Bay and Green Bay. And there's so many teams out there that expect them to be better than what they are, but they're not. And it's hard to really pinpoint, okay, where is these issues at? For Indianapolis, they lost a defensive coordinator. They're on their 100th quarterback. It affects the team. Now, maybe benching Matt Ryan for the game, maybe that will spark some life into the offense, but I doubt it. Tyler Heineke is not a pushover in a quarterback. He proved that last week against Green Bay. It held his own quite well. The defense for Washington is decent enough. Probably about the same par as Indianapolis. Right now, Indy's favored by 3. I'm taking command. I'm going to go with the Commanders. I think they go in Indianapolis and shock the Colts and probably shake up the organization more than they really want to. And Frank Reich might find himself on a hot seat. And that's just unfortunate for that Colts organization because there's a lot of high praise. I expect a lot more out of them myself. But I'm picking Washington. Then we head out to L.A., where a key battle in the NFC West between the 49ers and the Rams. These two Western teams colliding once again. These rivals going at it, and it's always fun to really see. And every time they play in L.A., it seems to be more of a 49ers home game than the Rams home game. And both teams right now are kind of struggling. They have to try to establish themselves. Now, the 49ers, they did get McCaffrey. He wasn't much of a factor last week. Maybe he can be more of a factor this week as he's able to learn more and more of the offense. He might become more and more of a factor for the 49ers. The Rams just came off their bye week. They're a little bit more rested. Maybe that's exactly what Stafford needed and this whole entire team needed to refocus their energies to get back in the winning ways, try and get back to, to get in the playoffs and whatnot. And right now, San Francisco figured about 1.5, which I completely understand. Everything's pointing towards them in that aspect, but I'm going to take the Rams in this one just because they had that week off. They had time to kind of rest, get some of those injured players back, give Stafford some time to kind of heal up because he hasn't been 100%. Even though I think it will be a very close game as well. I think it's going to be like 3 points or less in terms of victory, but I will take the Rams. Then we head to the Pacific Northwest where the Seahawks will play host to the Giants, and the Seahawks is one of these teams that's just I completely written off after losing Russell Wilson. DK Metcalf is now hurt. They lost Penny. He's hurt. But they found a new running back last week. They still have Lockett. Geno Smith has resurrected his career. The defense is actually decent. The Giants right now have just been lucky, I think, these past couple of games, especially the one against Jacksonville. I think that's the game they probably should have lost because their defense was giving Jacksonville all the opportunity in the world to win that game until the very end, and they just slammed the door in front of their face. And right now, Seattle's favored by 3. That's right. The Giants still have no respect in this game. It's like it's not they don't have any respect. It's just they're respecting, I think, the Seattle, even though the record doesn't showcase that there could be a better team. If they get everything hits in the right direction, Seattle's phenomenal. And like I said, Geno Smith is actually resurrecting his career. So I think it's going to be a Seattle victory as well. Be another surprise in that NFC West race. Make things interesting in the East as well. But yeah, definitely Seattle. Then Sunday night, we have to Orchard Park, New York, where the Buffalo Bills play host to the Green Bay Packers. And Aaron Rodgers is not happy right now, and he's saying, start benching people, take away some playing time. Yeah, I'll probably start a quarterback too. Because he's made some pretty bad throws himself, but he's also had thrown balls that his receiver should have caught. So there's plenty of blame to go around, all around. The offensive line is also in shambles, and you're taking on a very good Buffalo defense. And Vaughn Miller on that defense loves being in that backfield to disrupt the quarterback. Aaron Rodgers is going to know Von Miller very intimately, quite a few times. Right now, Buffalo's favored by 11.5. I don't see anything different. That Green Bay defense doesn't scare me either. Buffalo's going to have a field day, I believe. And this is something that Green Bay has to deal with and partly look at. And, okay, we really have to start looking at getting receivers. But, yeah, this is going to be Buffalo all night long. That leads us to Monday night on Halloween, when the witches and goblins come out to play. We get the Browns and Bagels battling for the Buckeye up there in First Energy Stadium, right there on the shores of Lake Erie. This is going to look like a classic AFC North showdown between these two. Cleveland right now is kind of in disarray. They could have probably beaten Baltimore last week, but they kind of fell short. And Cincinnati right now, offense is buzzing. And that's going to spell doom for Cleveland. And Cincinnati's favored by 3 right now because Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are on a different level. They are one mind linked and ready and just going. I'm going to take Cleveland in this one. I am going to go with the hometown team. I'm taking the Browns. Once again, I might be going on the edge once again and going against the grain and picking, the team with the winning record. But I think it's just one of these weeks right now where the teams that are supposed to win are not going to win. And I have a feeling this may not be one of them. I think, Brissett can be just as effective if given the opportunity. Chubb is a great running back to really help offset the Cincinnati defense, which should help open up some passing lanes for him. Especially having Amari Cooper, who is a decent receiver himself. So I think Cleveland's going to edge out and beat Cincinnati by 3 on Monday night. Well, there you go. Those are my picks. Let me know down below what you really think. Do you think I'm completely off on some of these? Like me going with Houston, winning at home, Jacksonville winning in London. I mean, it's just a few games here and there, and I'm probably going to go scratching your head like, what is this guy smoking? Absolutely nothing, by the way. Yeah, which matchup are you looking forward to seeing? Myself, it's going to be the Bears Cowboys. No, I don't know. I don't know about that one. I'm rooting for the Bears, but I have a feeling Dallas is going to beat them. I mean, I don't know how bad that Buffalo Green Bay game is going to be on Sunday night. And Halloween night, kids are out doing their trick or treating. I'll stay at home, eating the candy, watching football. Like I said, let me know down below. Once you're there, make sure you hit that thumbs up. Once again, you can also share this video. It really helps promote this out. Once you subscribe, make sure you hit that bell. That'll let you know next time I post any more content on my channel. And I will see you next time on Chat Sports Talk.